Welcome back to the garden. Today I'm on the side of the chicken coop in between the shade tunnel and the chicken coop, and I've pulled out a lot of canna lilies that was there, and I'm thinking about removing them all because this year I'm trying to amp up my food production, and so I'm trying to get the garden ready for that. Right now, I've pulled up half of it and I planted some Swiss chard. This is my first year growing the multicolored Swiss chard. Usually, I just grow the white. Um, I think it's called Laciano or something like that. And we really like that. So I decided to grow that. I'm going to grow that every year. But I also decided to grow some of the rainbow chard to see if we like it and to add color to the garden. So let me show you what I've done there, and then we'll go in the back and look at the what I'm doing in the back. So let me get you turned around. Okay, so as I said, I'm on the side of the front side of the chicken coop. This is where, on this wall, is where I had all of the Alabama beans this summer. And so I've gotten them all taken down. And I had two pepper plants under here, two bell pepper plants. And they're finally starting to put on some fruit and flowering now that they're not being shaded by the Alabama beans. They look a little rough, especially that one. It looks really droopy, but it looks much better than it did 2 days ago after the rain, and now it's starting to get sunlight. So hopefully, it looks like it's trying to put on some buds here. So hopefully, both of them will give us a flush of bell peppers before the season is out. I cut back this lemon lemon balm. I'm going to cut it lower because it still looks really shabby. As I said, the Alabama beans, they really took over this area, and the lemon balm and the lemongrass and the bell peppers were covered by it. And so when I pulled them out, I found these still alive under there. So that's why it looks kind of shabby right now. But down here, this is where I put in the rainbow chard. And I just put it in today. So it's looking a little wimpish, but they're all strong. And I may need to thin them a little bit more, but I'm going to just leave it like that for now and see how well they take. And then if we move around on this side of the lemongrass, I have another patch of Swiss chard. So if they take as well as I'm thinking they are, I'll have enough Swiss chard to get us through winter. And then here, I found some very small red kale. I found some very small red kale. I think this one is the biggest, but they look very good too. They're just very young. And so we'll have 3 rows of red kale here also. Now right here, this is where I have the pink rose bush. I have one there and one there on the other side of the step. But they're old and they're not looking good anymore. So I'm thinking that I'm going to go ahead and pull them up and remove the rest of this purple wandering Jew and turn all this into a new bed. In these pots here, I have some russet potatoes, and I had to put this wire over them because the puppy keeps digging it up. And so they are starting to sprout, but if he keeps digging them up, he's going to kill them. So hopefully he hasn't caused any real damage and they will begin to sprout. Now the other day I put in my garlic, and as you can see here, they are all starting to come up. Right back there, I think the puppy killed 2 of them because he has decided every bed that I touch, he wants to touch. So I'm trying to train him to stay off the beds, but they're looking really good. Most of them have come up, and so I hope you can see that, but they are looking really good. Over in this bed, I have some more kale, and it's starting to turn a little pale in color. I think, I may have mentioned it before, I think what's going on is my compost that I put down might was still a little too hot. But they're doing okay, so I'm gonna put some love on them, and hopefully they'll rebound, and hopefully we'll keep getting some rain, which will help wash some of it away, some of the strength of the cow manure away, and maybe they'll be okay. Fingers crossed. Right here I have more bell peppers, and they are starting to make fruit again. They were starting to look a little rough wear, but since I've cleaned this area out, back there I cut all those canna lilies down except for one here and there. Sunlight is getting in, and they're not fighting so hard for the nutrition that's in the soil. See, if you look at this one, it's still looking just a little rough and raggedy, but hopefully it'll follow suit and get better as the next few months go on and give us another big flush of green peppers. Well, bell peppers. When I say green peppers, I mean bell peppers. Now, in my last video, I showed that I had dug up one of the lemongrass plants, and these are the ones that I still need to plant. They've begun growing in the bucket. So that's a good sign that they're all healthy, and I just need to find a home for them. The small papaya plants that I plan on bringing in the house have put on leaves. This little one here, it had lost all of its leaves, and it has put on one full leaf and a tiny little baby one in the back. So I think by the time it's time to pull them in, their root systems will be strong and they'll be able to survive the winter indoors. Now we're inside the little grow house in the back. I started planting the torpedo onions here. The plants I had was so small that I really don't know what's going on. Like I said, I believe maybe the compost is still a little too hot, but I'm trying to make good with what I have, and so I took my time in this area and I dug down into the original soil and mixed it in better, and hopefully that'll fix the problem. But if you see here, I have little onion. These are torpedo onions, and I really like these. I've never grown them before, so hopefully this winter I'll be able to grow my own, and it'll be a good thing. So this is about a 4 foot area from here to there where that little pink sign is, and it's full of very, very small greens, and so hopefully they'll take well. I need to water them, and hopefully they'll take well. On this side, the potatoes are starting to grow. See, there's one there and one there, and here's one that the dirt has come from over it, so we're going to cover it back up. And there's one right there. So that's doing good. And hopefully, right now, you know, this will be my fruit cage eventually, but right now I'm just trying to work the ground and keep everything growing. And so I figured this would be a good place for the onion, because once they are well established, other than watering them every now and then, I won't have much to do back here during the colder months. Now over here, each year I grow cilantro over here, and I forgot that I had already sowed the cilantro, and so I put these walking onion in here. And since I done moved them, I'm not going to move them again. I'm just going to let the cilantro, see, all of this is cilantro. I'm just going to let it grow up and around the onion. And that'll be more cilantro than we need. And so hopefully they'll all live together here happily. And then when the cilantro comes out, I'll have my patch of walking onion over here. This Egyptian spinach is putting on seeds, and so I'm very glad about that. Hopefully the seeds will finish before our first real cold frost, and I'll be able to get some seeds off of it. Now here in front of these sweet peas, I spoke about the sweet peas and the lima beans the other day. The lima beans are still doing fairly well, but they are starting to show signs of being munched on. But they are still putting on pods, and so I'm not going to tear them down. But as you can see, the sweet peas are really starting to grow here now. And in the next week or so, they'll start climbing up the fence. So at that time, I'll probably just take down the lima beans. Hopefully the few beans that are on there will grow and be added to seed next year. Down below here, all of this is mustard. But you see I have one there that's growing large, and then there's smaller ones. I kind of think I'm going to wait another week or so and see. But here where they're so tiny, I think I'm going to mix that in with some other soil like I did over by the house, and mix the old soil with the new soil. Maybe that'll cool it off some. And then I'm running into problems with this little puppy. He's digging everything, but hopefully this all will cool off soon and stop burning the baby plants. So right here, this is where I'm moving to next. I need to dig up some of these smaller papaya trees and get them in pots, and maybe they'll overwinter well for me indoors under grow lights, so that I can replant them in spring and get fruit, because it took them so long to do anything that it has gotten too cold now. The two bigger ones that I have, I do plan on wrapping them like I do the banana trees every year, and hopefully that'll keep them alive. But if not, that's why I'm digging some up to put indoors. And right here, I just been working this ground, trying to mix in the old soil with the new soil, and I'm going to plant the Texas onion here. But the ginger is doing really well now. It has come up in all the pots, and I'm going to move these in once we get our first cold snap. I need to start paying attention to the news starting next month. And once we get our first cold snap, I'll bring these in. Now here I have some turmeric that I ordered, and it hasn't come up yet, but it could be that I planted it too deep because it did have eyes on it. So I'm hopeful that it will start growing soon, and I'll bring it in the house also. Now here, by these beans, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 ginger plants because this is a tiny one right here. And I put them in the ground. I didn't expect them to do anything. I couldn't find the eyes on them. But as you can see, they clearly had eyes. So I'm going to mulch this area real heavy. And I know that the foliage, if it's extremely cold, the foliage will die back. But maybe the roots will survive if I mulch it really heavy. If not, I'll have what I take in the house, but I'm hoping to save it all. Here is my Swiss chard from last year. It's finally starting to grow back. It had almost died down to nothing. It looked more like this one. But as you can see, they're all starting to grow back. And I will plant some more here to, to fill this area out. But this is the Locarno. And so what I'm trying to do here is get seed. So since this Locarno it went through a full season, when spring comes around, if it survives winter, when spring comes around, I should get seed from it. And fingers crossed, because I've never gotten seed from it. This is my first time attempting to get seed. But maybe I'll get seeds. And here in this small bed, these 2 kale plants are over a year old too. So they got through the summer and they're putting on new leaves. They're looking really healthy. And so I'm hoping that they also will, when spring comes back around, will give me seeds from them also. And here's the other Egyptian spinach. And like I said, it's all starting to put on pods. So I'll have fresh seeds for my seed shop and for the garden this year. Well, going into 2026, I'll have fresh seed. And this pepper plant, this is the pepper plant that overwintered last year, and it's doing so good. And so I'm gonna stake it and let it finish growing because it's starting to lean a lot. It's almost tall as me now, and it's got a lot of flowers on it, good size pepper. And so I'm going to give it some love and mulch it really well. Give it some love and mulch it really well. And hopefully it'll last another winter outside. This rosemary has become a beautiful beast. I'm going to get some clippings from it in the next couple of days, and so I can have some fresh rosemary in the house. But I'm going to cut it back probably almost to ground level. And again, mulch it really well, and it ought to do fine this winter. Rosemary is very cold hardy, so it ought to do fine. I have a few rosemary plants throughout the garden, but this one by far is doing the best. All of the others are quite smaller. And here's my oldest mullein plant. As you can see, it is about to give seeds. It's still flowering, but for the most part, see, it makes these beautiful yellow flowers. But for the most part, it's finished flowering. And all of these little nodulars here will turn dry like this one. See how dark this one is starting to get? It's going to get much darker than that. And then all of that will be seed for the seed shop and for the garden. And then over here, by the garlic, I have a new plant starting. And what I do is I just keep cutting like these outer leaves. I cut them away. See, this is a stack I cut the other day, and I chop them up and I use that as mulch to go around the plant. So this plant will overwinter, and by next year it'll give me more seeds for the shop. And this is my third Egyptian spinach plant. I've been cutting it back a lot, and so it has not started putting on seeds like the other two have, but it's starting to flower. See here, it's making flowers, so I should get some seeds off of it before too long also. And then here, that's my moringa tree. And you see those long things? Those are seed pods. And so I will have fresh seeds for the shop and for the plants. Now, moringa dies back here in the winter, but it always resprouts. And so I won't need any more trees here, I don't believe. I have about 5. But if one does not survive, well, then I'll plant some more seeds. But next year, when it in the winter when it dies back, I'm going to cut it really short and turn it into a bush. I have that one, and then I have this one that's up against the house. It's not giving seeds, but I've been cutting it all year, and so that's probably why it hasn't begun to give seeds. But once one's going to flower is enough for the seeds that I need. Now this is my Swiss chard that has overwintered. I was telling you about it a few minutes ago, and I need to cut some of this dead away. But as you can see, the leaves are coming back really pretty. Everything is looking really good. Now this one next to it is not doing so well, but this one is, and so hopefully it'll give me some seeds in the spring. Here by the door of the chicken house, I have some green beans growing, and it's time to harvest them because the bugs are really starting to eat at them now. But they are flowering, and they are putting on pods. And so this patch plus the patch I have in the back, I ought to receive a good amount. Not as much as I did last year, but every year is different. And so I'm grateful for what I have. But these are the papaya trees. I'm going to keep 2 of them because they're really tall, and try to wrap them to see if I can make them survive the winter. And then this one here that's in the bed with the moringa, I'm going to do the same to it. So I will try to overwinter 3 of them. I kind of think it's not going to work, but you just never know. Number one, I don't know how cold it's going to get this year. I don't know how cold it's going to get this winter, and it might work, so I'm going to try. Now in this bed, this is right by the kitchen window. These are mustard greens, and as you can see, some of them, they were all planted at the same time, but some of them are thriving and some of them are struggling. They are all pretty, they all look healthy, and so hopefully they will all, I have some empty spots like right here. I need to sow some more seeds, But hopefully they will continue to fight against whatever's stunting them. And this will be mustard greens for us during the winter months and for the chickens. But you see, they are really starting to do well. Fingers crossed. Over here, we haven't looked at the asparagus bed in a while, but they're doing pretty good. Some of the roots have not come up yet, but most of this is new growth. Is from the new root systems that I bought. These older ones where they have the dry canes, they're all regrowing. And so I think this bed is gonna really fill out and give us a lot of growth next year. I will mulch it very heavily, probably later next month and closer to the end of next month, because normal years we don't really get really cold until January, February. So I'm going to just let the ferns grow as long as they will, and then I'll mulch the roots really heavy, and this bed will be a beautiful bed by next year. Hey, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. Now this banana plant, the older banana plants, I do not know what kind they are. They were gifts given to me by a friend of the family, and she has passed, so I can't ask her. But these are Cavendish, and so I'm gonna move all those babies and just keep this big one right here and wrap it very well, because I've had these Cavendish bananas for about 3 years now, and I haven't got anything off of them. But most years I have not protected them through the winter. I had them in buckets, and I would just let them die back and regrow. Well, this year I decided to plant 2 of them, and this one is the most impressive. So I'm going to try to wrap it like I do the others, so that it won't freeze, and hopefully we'll get some bananas off it next year. And then the smaller ones, I'm going to put them in pots. There's 4, maybe 5. I'm going to put them in pots and maybe put them in the seed store. I'm not really sure yet, but my main reason for showing them to you is my main reason for showing it to you is I think it's so beautiful, and so I do want to attempt to get fruit off of it next year. So since this one is so impressive, this is the one I'm going to wrap. Thai eggplants are really starting to grow now. They struggled through the summer, but they're growing and they're flowering, and we have fruit. We have fruit coming on it, and so when it starts to get cold, these usually will come back. But the last 2 winters we have gotten snow, and so I don't know if we're going to do that this year. So what I will do is clean this area out, because those flowers on their last go around, and I'm going to clip these back and mulch real heavy, and hopefully they'll survive the winter, and I won't have to replant them. Plus they'll do better because they'll be over a year old. I like eggplant, but what I like about these Thai eggplants is when it's that size, if you pick it, it hasn't got so many seeds in it yet, and so it's really delicious. So if you're interested in growing some Thai eggplants, go over to my seed shop, karlapatton.com, and buy you some. I may start selling at the beginning of spring a few plants this next year. I have to think about it, but right now I have seeds. So if you're interested, go over to karlapatton.com. So the fig tree is coming to a close. It's starting to lose its leaves and die back. And so I don't know how I'm going to get, I don't want to cut it again, because this year I cut it and I didn't get many figs off of it because the growth was new. So if I cut it again, I won't get any figs next year. So I'm going to do my best to figure out how to get those branches from out of this wire. See, it's chicken wire. And so hopefully, once the leaves all fall off, most of them I can bend and manipulate and get them out of there. And then I'm going to move this cage. And I think I'm going to turn this into the dog's doghouse. I'm going to put it in the backyard somewhere, and because he's such a little fella, this would be a lot of room for him to run around. I could even get him a buddy at some point, and he should be able to live good in there. That's what I'm thinking now, but you know me. In a few weeks that might change and I build him one, but I have this cage, and so it would be a good cage for him to live in. And then here over by the chicken coop, I finally got all this grass cut down, and now I'm trying to decide if I want to take that chicken run and move it forward to be even with this one. Now I kind of think I'm not going to do that because I'm going to lose a lot of garden space. And really from the inside, there's a door there and there's a door on that side. So that would just give them more room to be able to move around. But at some point I might make it bigger because I have 2 roosters now. You know, Mr. died, and so I have 2 new roosters, but they're babies right now. And my intent starting next year is to go into full meat production for me and Mama. And so I might need that room. So I have a few months to think about it. So once I know for sure what I'm going to do, I'll show you guys. But right now, probably tomorrow or Saturday. Yeah, tomorrow is Friday. We have rain coming, and I can't remember if it's Friday or Saturday, but it's supposed to be 80%. So I may not be able to do this until next week, but I will lay some cloth down. See here, I have a tarp, and I have some more tarps, and I'm going to tarp this whole area and get it ready for growing next spring. I need to cut all these banana plants down except for one. This is my back circle, and it has been neglected, so it's not giving any bananas because I let it die back last year. But the biggest one I think is that one, and so I'll keep that one, probably cut all the rest down and use them as mulch, because you know I have these 2 big, well, let me walk around and show you. You better stay out of those ants. See this area here, all of that was full of mulch. I uncovered it this year, and so it's pretty much dead. I need to get rid of that weed, but you know, in a few days I'm going to start tearing down that old chicken coop, and this is the back side of the chicken coop. But it may not show on the camera, but from here, as it goes that way, it slopes. So I need to fill that so it's all even with this part, so it's even right across. And once I do that, I'll once I do that, I'll be able to turn it into a grow bed for next year. And then I don't bring you guys to the back part of the garden much because it's still a mess. But where I have this carpet laid, I'm killing grass. And then back there where that tarp is, you can see there, that grass is killed. So all of this needs to be filled in because it slopes. You see that pipe there? That's the sewage line. And years ago, Daddy dug it out, but he never put it back. What he did was he put it on this side. And so now this ground is way higher than that ground. And when it rains, it floods. So I'm trying to make the beds even, number one, so I can grow in them, but also to stop some of the flooding that happens in the backyard. Because if things work the way I want, I will get bees next year, and they will live somewhere back here. I'm not sure yet, but this tree, I'm going to kill it over the winter. I cut it back once, and I forgot about it, and it regrew. But this year, I'm going to go ahead and kill it and make all of this area from here, because that's the end of our yard, all the way back as smooth as I can, as level, I should say, as I can. But let me zoom in so you can see. My cactus plant is finally putting on berries. You see there's one there. And two there. And one there. And so I don't want to disturb it. I may make that cactus, I may make the cactus plant smaller because it's getting kind of big. And after I get rid of this chicken coop, originally I put it there as a deterrent from neighboring dogs getting close to the chickens. But now that I'm not using it, I kind of don't want it in the middle of the yard anymore. But I may make it smaller and leave it there. But I got quite a bit of work to do back here still. And then that banana tree has to go because technically it's in the wrong place. I may leave it there because I got to be sure it's on our property line. And if it is, I may leave it there just as a accent point. But it'll probably never give me fruit because I don't need it really. And then here, I need to clean this all out. This was my old composter, and it has fallen down. But I know there's some soil under there, and so I think I'm going to clean that out. And from there, all the way back past that white tarp into where the banana trees are, I think I'm going to turn that into a hugelkultur mound. But my battery's finna die, so that's going to be it for today. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and follow me and share me with your friends. And until next time, be good. Bye-bye.